All right, question number 8. Will there be solar panels installed in the parking lot? Will solar be installed to run the kitchen and building facilities?
Yes, and yes, and yes. So I talked about the PV structures. We'll have 3 of them. We'll have a bunch of PV panels up on the roof of the building as well. So, and I'm going to spit out a couple facts here. We will have a solar system that can generate 366 kW of power. And that will be about 66% of the overall energy use of the facility. Wow. So in real time, if sun is out, each day we should be able to generate 2/3 of the electricity we're consuming by solar panels.
Cool. Next question, will your stoves be electric? Are you investing in induction cooking equipment?
Yes and yes. So we're going 100% all electric on this facility. Every single thing, every appliance, we're not bringing any gas into the building. Induction stoves, stovetops, yes, absolutely. And some real beasts of electric ovens. I mean, induction's great. It's kind of like the new thing that everybody's talking about. But these electric ovens are really, really, really exciting.
Top of the line.
Yes. You should get excited about electric ovens. And then I just want to mention briefly that all the other heating and cooling systems will also be electric, and we'll be utilizing pretty sophisticated electric heat pumps for all the hot water. And that's a key big one because the engineering of the energy efficiency was really, really, really centered around the hot water because it's a kitchen. And they're using a ton, well, not a ton, but a lot of water for dishes. And so we had to basically model a dishwasher going, basically from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So many times through, and that's a lot of hot water. And to meet that with electric demand or electric supply is quite challenging. So we're proud of the all-electric heat pump hot water system as well.
Gotcha. The next question kind of has to do what innovative ideas for capturing waste energy, such as heat from an oven, have you already thought about?
Yeah, we thought about a few, and I'll say we thought about 3 main sources. We're implementing one. Refrigerations are all run off of heat pumps. Heat pumps are outside, they're up on the roof. The waste is heat.
Yeah.
So we designed a system to capture that heat and send it to the hot water system to preheat it.
Oh, that's cool.
It is very cool. Unfortunately, for financial reasons, it didn't really make sense. And I would love to follow up with anybody on that, why it didn't make sense and why we chose not to do it. The second place where we looked at is capturing what's called air-to-air exchanges. So as the new air is coming in, cold in the winter, and as the warm air from the building is leaving, it goes through this magic box, and they exchange their molecules, and the colder air comes in warmer, and we don't have to use energy to heat it up as much, is the basic principle.
Okay.
So we're doing that, and we're doing that in multiple locations in different ways in the building. The last that I'll say we looked at was there are now plumbing systems that you can try to capture waste heat from a dishwasher. So all that hot water is going through.
It has all that.
Exactly. Well, yes, it's really, think of the hot water going down the drain.
Oh.
So you capture the heat in the drain.
Yeah, already.
But again, the return on investment just didn't make sense, so we actually didn't implement that. One of our, and I don't know if this falls in the right category, but I'm just going to put it in there because a lot of commercial buildings don't do this these days. We have operable windows. So we're super excited about people in their offices or anywhere in the facility. They can go to their window and open it up. When they do that, there's an electronic basic signal to the heating or cooling system that will shut it off automatically. So you're not wasting heat by opening your window because you want fresh air.
Okay, question number 11.
Right.
Is this just solar power or multiple sources that will be generating the power? Are you planning to have PG&E for a backup source?
Yes, definitely. PG&E is the source. They'll be the backbone of the system. So we'll be plugging into their grid. But more importantly, we're creating what's called a microgrid. In times where we're generating more PV electrical power, we can send that to our batteries, build up our battery bank, so we have a very large battery storage of energy. And when it's so PG&E power, when you're using the grid at certain times of the day, usually between 2 and 9 o'clock in the evening, they charge you a higher rate. And so what we can do, this facility has the ability to actually between 2 and 9 use only energy from the batteries.
Okay. So not outside, but
not outside. So we can do what's called island our site so that we're completely self-generated. And then on the shoulder times is when we can be recharging the batteries. And then at night, if we need to, we will pull PG&E grid power to recharge the batteries. But that's at a lower rate. So a savings of a cost of energy, and this is again something interface engineering did for us, is pretty phenomenal. It could be up to $200,000 a year of saving costs just by being able to do that. Get off the grid during high peak hours, and then build up the battery bank on low peak hours. So that's a key. I want to take it a step further and say if PG&E goes down, either through the PSPS that we're all living through, it happens, or
something
more disastrous is going on, which again we've all been through it. So if that was to occur, we can completely island from PG&E and keep power going. We will need at some point, and we run the models depending on the weather and how clear it is, so how much we're able to generate through the solar. We could operate the facility up to 10 days without PG&E power.
Gotcha.
If it's cloudy, that shrinks down to maybe 3 days.
Oh, so it's like really variable.
It's variable. And so we've run a bunch of models to show that. So we do have a backup generator that will be on site to help meet those times where the variables are against us and we need to keep the facility running, then we will have to run a generator. But again, minimal times, very minimal, and only in the worst case scenarios is the way it's being planned.
Got it. So with the generator, how long can we last without PG&E?
Ultimately, we wouldn't want to, right? But that generator could run the whole facility. Yeah.
And is that for like a day or like a week or?
Well, it would be limited by its gas tank storage, and more than likely this generator is going to be diesel powered, so it will have an on-site tank that could probably run for 2 days, and then we'd have to have it refilled.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, we could run the facility
as long as you have all the diesel.
Yes, as long as we have the diesel going there. But I really want to stress that the way this system has been designed, that's a truly backup of backups. And so we're banking on the combination of enough solar and or PG&E, even if it's intermittent, being able to be recharged as battery banks. So the battery bank, this microgrid, is really the key source of that flexibility, because that's sort of what they call it's a battery energy storage system. So it's a long-term battery energy storage system. This is okay. Everybody knows like the big the big shipping containers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Think of that. Think of that.
Mhm.
Whole thing is full of batteries. That's what's going to be out there. Yeah. So it's like it's a big set of batteries.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is a question about batteries in
Great.
here.
Let's get there.
You've already answered question 12, which was how long of a power outage could you endure? So question 13, will you be using passive solar, gray water, and batteries for outages?
Okay. Passive solar, yes, to a limited extent. It's a real challenge on commercial buildings to get a whole lot of passive solar, but yes, the main training lobby room will be able to use passive solar to again, limited extents, but certainly we designed it that way. Gray water, yes, we would like to. It's a challenge to use it in this facility, commercial facility. Most residential applications know about washer to landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your washing machine, very easily can tie to your gray water, plumb that for a gray water system.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly can do that. We will have on-site washer machine to do that with. There's a significant amount of water utilized to prep vegetables, to clean vegetables, and we really were trying to figure out how we could capture that water and put it through a gray water system. At this point in time, the county was going to make us design a sort of mini filtration septic system for it, and we just didn't have the space or really the bandwidth to figure that out. Yeah. So for now, we're having to forego that, but we will plumb it so that if we have in the future,
you can do it later.
Exactly. If there's new technology that makes sense to do this, and or the health department changes their regulations around it, then we would try to do this. Absolutely. And the last one, I talked about the batteries. We will absolutely use batteries.
Which is a great lead in to the next question. I'm concerned about the impact of spent batteries on the environment. What can you say about that and the batteries that will be used in this facility?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm concerned as well. Our society seems to create technologies that aren't sort of what they call cradle to grave, where we can really
reuse it when
exactly or when we're generating or when we're birthing these technologies, how do we keep in mind that they go back to the earth gently?
Yeah.
So our battery system will mostly be lithium ion based, and I honestly can't speak to how well that can be recycled. So that's kind of a little over my experience. I think the warranty on those batteries is 15 years. Not great. This facility, we know, wants to be around longer than that. Will the batteries last longer than that? Potentially. And I think there's a good chance they will. But at some point, that battery system will need to be removed, recycled.
As far as like the batteries we're using versus like the whole spectrum, like is 15 years like a good mark, or like anything you can?
Yeah, actually 15 years is solid.
Yeah,
that's kind of the standard for batteries. If you can get a 20-year battery, not many battery manufacturers will offer that warranty.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are they like a big car battery, or are they like?
Yeah. What do they look like?
What do they look like? Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cheat here. Let me take a quick look. They are bigger than a car battery, for sure. Yes. And again, think this container. This container is full of batteries. Kind of crazy.
How many solar panels will the building have?
I can get you that number. So there are, on the number of panels, it's a lot. Let me just do my quick math here. 4 plus 1. There are 806 individual solar panels throughout this. Yeah, throughout the site.
That's so many.
That is a lot.
This is the last question. It's actually from me. What else do you think we should know? Just to open it up.
Okay. So a couple things that we did, we really wanted to see if we could evaluate the energy intensity of a meal, okay? So we wanted to see if there was a way that we could take the existing facility in Sebastopol, look at energy use over the facility, divide that by the number of meals that were being produced, okay? So we created sort of a data source for that, and that was our baseline to see what the new facility would do in terms of bringing down possibly that energy intensity.
Yeah.
And the other part of that was we were wanting to make sure to translate energy into carbon. So as we all know, as we use energy, we are spewing some sort of carbon into the atmosphere. So depending on the source of energy, that's cleaner or dirtier or more carbon intense. So with our baseline, the new facility, with everything I've mentioned, from on-site PV generation to battery backup at peak hours to some of the heat exchangers for heating and cooling, and more importantly, all electric facility, all electric kitchen equipment. We are being able to bring the energy intensity of a meal down from current Sebastopol baseline by 73%. So that's pretty significant.
Yes.
That translates into a reduction of CO2 equivalent by 81%. So we're super, super excited about being able to sort of, use this as a platform to say, hey, y'all, it is a good thing for us to go all electric because there are real impacts to today's climate on this. And then sort of what's in commercial engineering efficiency terminology is predicted energy use intensity. So they give us a baseline for like different buildings, commercial buildings, and sort of baseline is this predicted energy use is X. And so we took that baseline and then we applied all of these things that we're doing. And I want to say this was applied prior to the battery backup, so that we think this number will go down even more. The Ceres new culinary facility will use 76% less energy than a comparable building being built today. So again, 76% less energy.
We're the future.
Yes, we are the future. And again, we think that number would go down if we plugged in the battery as helpful. And then I guess the other thing just to say is, again, because we're going all electric, and we're being able to generate close to 66% of our energy we will consume through the PV. I do want to say, go back to this financial part of it, where up close, it's projected, again, we'll see, but it's projected that we could save up to $200,000 a year on energy costs. And if you project that out over the lifetime of the panels, and I'm going to pull this up here because, well, let me just say, we're talking a savings of close to $5 million over a 25-year time period for those panels of energy savings. So this is just cutting down on, and that projected cost is based on a lot of variables, but that's kind of what our designers were able to give us in terms of the return on investment of these systems. And then lastly, I just want to say, it's been fabulous working with Ceres. For me, this is a dream project to be able to work on a project that is doing so much good in the world. A lot of times buildings are kind of, they're okay, but your client, might have other goals, or just, or a trophy home, or whatever it might be. So for me, this is a super, super exciting project to be able to work on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. when you're modeling, like our current energy use, was that for like 1 year, 5 years? How was that?
Yeah. So it was, and that's a good question, because when the new facility opens, it will only be operating at a fraction of where we project it to be in terms of putting meals out.
Oh yeah, it'll be scaled over.
It'll be
a
scaled
decade.
over time. So
Yeah.
our energy analysis, that's those variables that I talked about. So yeah, we ran analysis to say, but the PV analysis I'm giving you was at the projected peak output.
Okay.
So those, so we'll,
okay.
so again, when we open, we actually may be able to generate more than 66%
Yeah.
of our needed energy. Because
Okay.
our
Yeah, 'cause-
projections were
yeah.
like, oh, at
Yeah.
800,000 meals, or
Yeah. Okay.
a million meals a year. So
Mhm.
that's what our projections were. But when you all open, it might be at 300,000
Yeah.
meals a year, or
Yeah.
and that might ramp up really quickly to 500,000. So yes, absolutely, we did that. And so also going back to the whole conversation about that 3 days to maybe 10 days, that's also that variableness.
Okay,
That
so
it'll be easier to do the 10 days early on.
Yeah.
It'll
yeah.
get a little bit more challenging as the
As we're outputting so many more meals.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. It's still not to say that we couldn't achieve close to 10 days. We
Yeah.
did those projections as well.
Yeah.
So that when you're fully up and running, how long could you stretch it? We try to hit those that 10-day mark, just to say it'd be a lot easier in the early years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. For
All right.
explaining
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Um,
All right.
We're done.